I don't know, every time I look at this, I think about like a mantis or something, but at the same time, it's just kind of dripped down from here. And this makes me think of a lot of heels in like, or something, and kind of like fire. And to me, this is just like a really hideous face, basically. Like just really like creepy.
It is creepy, kind of like a horror movie or something.
Yeah, yeah. And I watch quite a few horror movies.
Do you? Well, so I was going to ask you about, your influence. You said when you were a kid you took an art class and looked at a lot of comic books, but do you have other influences that are, styles that you particularly admire?
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. I think what it said about comic books, for sure, and the original like Stan Lee comics, and those really, really old ones are the ones I really appreciate. And then and then over the years, just watching a ton of movies, and particularly, been I think really influenced by a lot of really abstract movies. Like David Lynch is probably my favorite director, and his movies. He's really good at marrying abstract ideas to storytelling, and it just makes my mind excited when I watch his movies and from the ideas. And so I think he's probably inspired me a lot, as well as like a director like Cronenberg. Yeah, but then I think just, I feel like I like creating experiences. Like I'll just go hang out at a waterfall for a day, and I feel like that greatly inspires me, So just life in general too, but there's definitely artists that have been big inspirations. And also even, like I listen to a lot of metal bands that I really like, or death metal, thrash metal bands while I'm doing a lot of these pieces, and so that I'm sure inspires it too. So
I was going to ask you whether you play music when you paint.
Yeah, definitely a lot of like the death metal band Origin, Deicide, Cannibal Corpse, Slayer. Yeah, some of these bands really like, and as well as instrumental stuff, classical music, Japanese classical. Music I really like, stuff like electronic, like Tangerine Dream. Anything that, to me, that feels very experience-based, like the artist is trying to put you into an experience. Because that's definitely the art. I don't really so much like conveying a political message to anybody. I just want to give somebody an experience. Because I just feel like art's supposed to be like, an experience.
Well, it's interesting that you brought up the metal band, because you said you play a lot of heavy metal music.
Yeah.
And are you in a band?
Yeah, we're called The Glory Days of Primetime TV.
Okay.
We kind of have a long name, but you can find us on Facebook or whatever.
Okay. How did you choose that name?
Well, now we say that we're grieved from the loss of the great shows of the past.
Okay.
And so we're trying to put those up on like a pedestal and say like, Seinfeld, that was better than what we have now.
Okay.
And so that's funny to us. And I think also, I don't know, every time I try to put a title on something that's more like a lot of things, like a lot of songs and ideas, and then we're supposed to like name the band after like what kind of atmosphere we recreated from all of these, even though they don't all match up to one thing, it becomes kind of confusing. Like it's really easy for me to like title a song I make or something, but like I couldn't title like one of these pieces of art here, just because it just doesn't, there's so many ideas in here, and they all feel like one atmosphere, but I can't necessarily like put a name on that atmosphere. And so I think I was kind of rebelling against the idea of having to have the title too. So I was trying to go in a little bit more of a comedic idea and just be like, we're the glory days of primetime TV, instead of being like, we're drudgery lament, which was like some of the ideas that kind of like we were throwing around, but none of them really fit us in the end. So.
Well, the glory days of primetime TV is actually kind of playful and fun.
Yeah.
And I think it might predispose somebody to listen to you perhaps sooner than drudgery lament.
Yeah.
It sounds like, another day at the office,
Yeah.
I like that. And I know that we're not going to be playing any of your music today, but people can certainly hear you at the Saturday Market, I'm assuming, if they go down. Is that correct? Do you play your music down there?
No, I don't. But
okay.
But there's always good music there for sure. But I'd be happy to give anyone a demo or point them the way to my music if they came and saw me there.
Okay, good.
And
so you're self-taught as a musician as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing I think with the title is, I think as a band we're actually pretty joyous, even though it is heavy metal. And so I don't want to limit how joyous we can become, you know, by like putting an overly intense negative sort of idea on it, even though it is very intense music. So it's it just kind of keeps it more open, and we felt better about it.
I remember when my son was in high school and he played a lot of heavy metal music, and my reaction was usually, turn that stuff down. And I have to say, I guess it didn't strike me as particularly joyous.
Right.
But I think, you know, it just depends on where you're at. You know, it maybe somebody who, I don't know how you relate to music, but if that's what you call joyous, and I say that's joyous, that's good.
Yeah, and I think it kind of depends on like the element of the music. Like the guitar riff, if you compare it to a lot of death metal, is really not comparable to like rock and roll or the roots of a lot of popular music. It's really more comparable to like classical music, and that's you know, I think what excites a lot of people that listen to that kind of music in death metal is, and if you talk to them, they really don't care as much about the vocals as they do the guitar riffs.
Yeah.
And the guitar riffs, when you listen to those and you focus in on them, you start feeling like you're listening to like, you know, classical music. And then the vocals. So we end up having like a pretty different approach because I'm trying to more like lift my voice to God and sing my lament in that way. And so it does end up being outright joyous. So we're kind of our own thing in that.
That's sort of interesting, though. I guess I haven't ever heard of, you know, what do you want to say, praise music or in terms of heavy metal.
Yeah.
But maybe lament music is sort of different than praise music.
Yeah, or to me, like, I mean, I try to live everything I do in my life as a prayer pretty much. Like even when I'm like just out on a walk at night, I feel like if I commit those steps to God, that He'll make me walk better even.
Okay.
So down to like every little detail like that. And so that's why, you know, the music ends up being that way, even though we have no intent to have like, you know, to be like a Christian band, and some of the people in the band aren't Christians too. So, but that's just the way I live my life, so it naturally happens that way.
Yeah, and I know that you said you sort of enjoy doing yo-yo tricks for people at the public market.
Oh yeah.
And that you brought your yo-yo today.
Yeah.
Are you going to do some yo-yo tricks for us?
Oh yeah, if you'd like to see some, definitely.
Sure, I think we would love to see some.
Sure.
You want to talk about it a little bit?
Sure.
How'd you get going on the yo-yo?
Well, you know, I think in 8th grade, you're looking for something to do.
Right.
And that's when it started. And I was looking for, you know, there's a lot of time to pass in your life when you're in like middle school and stuff.
I know, it's like purgatory. You think it's never going to end, yeah.
And so I think, you know, it was like something to do in between classes. It was
Okay.
almost like a smoke break or something, you know.
I love that. Okay.
And
okay.
so I just started filling my time with it, and it became an art form to me, and eventually became something I perceive as a form of dance, really, or something
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
And but yeah, here I'll show you guys kind of a few tricks.
Just be careful with your...
Oh yeah, watch the cord here. Let me know if you... And this is like side style yo-yoing.
Okay.
And I'm just improvising with different moves as they come to me. And basically just dancing with the yo-yo and the speed that the yo-yo is. Like I can feel the speed of the yo-yo in the string. So like I can...
Tension.
Yeah. So you... And that influences me on what I do, because I can feel how much spin is left and what I can accomplish with it.
Like what the yo-yo feels like doing today. Oh, that's amazing. Did you make these moves up?
Some of them, most of them I've learned from others.
Wow.
And then it's kind of like I'm improvising and putting moves together as they come.
So this is the fun performance art that you do at the market.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. What do you call that little move where it goes back and forth like that, like a ping pong?
That's called boingy boing.
Oh, okay, that's cute.
This is called Candy Rain. It's a pattern I really like to look at.
Mm-hmm. Kind of mesmerizing. I've never seen anybody do this before. This is incredible.
Thanks.
Wow.
And
A lot of people have come on this show who've brought their photos or their pictures or a lot of things, but nobody's ever come on and done the yo-yo before. You're the first one.
Yeah, and yo-yo's just like, you know, any art form where there's different techniques to use. Like you used a different paintbrush to get more of what you want in a painting. And then for yo-yoing, there's like different concepts like slack tricks. Like so, like a lot of what I've been doing is been using the weight of the yo-yo to go throughout the strings and come up with ideas that way. But then there's different concepts like slack tricks where you take the slack of the string and do things with that.
Okay.
Like taking the slack and whipping it around.
And is this
it's all just a different technique.
Is this a special new age yo-yo, or because it doesn't look like the old wooden ones from back in my day?
Yo-yos with a ball bearing inside is pretty much the standard for today.
Okay.
And then this one, you know, is just a metal yo-yo, but it's really, you know, you can get these at like Hopscotch in town. It's really nothing too overly fancy.
You know, you could make an instructional video to do this, and you could sell it on late night television.
That would be pretty fun.
It really would. It's almost like the Sham Wow.
Yeah,
It's
and
really
it's
cool.
definitely watching videos of other people that help me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Help me kind of come up with a lot of these ideas.
That is really incredible. So now when you're doing your concerts with your band, do you ever just stop and break into like a little yo-yo solo?
I bring it up there so that then if there's like a, you know, somebody breaks a string or something, then I can do that while they're fixing it.
Instead of the inane between song patter that people try to come up with. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So far I haven't been too good about talking in between songs. It's been...
That's amazing right there. Good Lord. I love this. This is great.
I'll show you my favorite trick.
Okay.
This one, the person who wrote this trick or created it, Gabriel Lozano, taught me it in person. And it took about 3 hours of him to just show me it step by step. So I was really thankful when I met him at a yo-yo competition in California that he took the time to...
And what's this one called?
You know, he never told me the name, and looking it up, I've never found a name, but I don't know. I just really like the motion of it.
That is really incredible. Wow.
Thank you.
So let's see. You're an artist and a musician and a yo-yo guy. And what else? What else don't we know about you?
Yeah, I just dabble in a lot of interests, I guess.
I know that we didn't really get a chance to talk about your photography, and I know you are a photographer.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But now I see that we're out of time.
Oh,
and so
okay.
maybe the next time you come on the show,
Sure.
you'll do more yo-yo tricks and bring your photography.
I'd be happy to, yeah.
I think it would be really great. Have you ever thought about a glow-in-the-dark yo-yo?
Yeah, they're pretty fun. It's pretty mesmerizing to do that.
I would think so, yeah.
Because so much of what I do is involved with the strings as well as the yo-yo. So in the dark and just having the yo-yo be that vibrant and not seeing what the strings are doing, it's a whole different experience.
I would think so. Well, thanks so much for being here today. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks for having me.